Good morning, good morning, good morning. I just want to read you the story this morning. And I just want to let you know that I am at the store today. So I want to get this done. Uh, I want to give you there we go. I want to give you I just want to read a story. Then I'll give you a tour. Oh, Sister Freaks. The next one that we're going to be on is going to be, if you have your book, it is on page 262. And if you want a book, please let me know. I have not. I've lost my through everything with losing Jeff and everything. I have lost other things like my papers and stuff like that. So let me know in the comments, please, if you would like a book. And I don't know if I can see comments or not. But anyway, it says I'm live. Tap on a comment to show. Okay, I don't see any comments yet. I don't see anybody looking. But anyway, I'm going to do this. So, good morning. It was 1973, and 9-year-old Ling watched her father die of cancer. Wondering if there really was a God at all, Ling and her family lived in a tiny bamboo hut in China. They had always been poor, unsure of what the next meal would come. Once her father had passed away, surviving was even more difficult. Ling's mother and father had been inseparable. They never exchanged harsh words. The children saw their deep love for each other and for God. Ling knew her mother was deeply distraught at losing her husband, but nothing seemed to shake her faith in God. Winter was setting in and the hut was cold. I'm sorry, I'm looking down. Ling's mother asked her to kneel down and pray with her one morning. Ling resented the request as she really couldn't see any evidence that God cared for them. Her mother continued to pour out her heart to God with great fervor. Ling just knelt quietly, not wanting to say anything to God, even if he did exist. Ling's mother realized that they would not be able to survive financially. She told the children that the family needed to move in with their grandmother. In Chinese culture, women depended on men for their well-being and happiness. But Ling's mother was not interested in remarrying. She wanted to go to work and get a job. Her mother was very opposed to the idea. After 2 years, Ling's grandmother announced that she had arranged another marriage for her mother. Mother, I don't want to marry again. I could never love anyone the way I loved John. Her mother's pleading did no good, and she had to heed her parents' wishes. Ling and her siblings had to adjust to a new stepfather. Shu Tan did not treat the children well. Ling despised him but kept her feelings to herself. She was strong and healthy and began working as soon as she was allowed in the fields. She earned almost as much as any man. She also helped design a machine that made tofu. At 15, she desperately wanted to get away from her stepfather. Ling didn't hear her mother pray as often as she once did. The prayers she did overhear occasionally were for Ling and her sister, who labored many hours under Shu Tan's orders. Her mother was one of the few secret believers in the village of Rutan. Distance grew stronger each day between Shu Tan and Ling. Finally, he suggested she find a husband. He didn't care for her and wanted one less mouth to feed. Ling continued to work harder and harder, avoiding her stepfather's path. He didn't press the idea of marriage. Ling was grateful and just kept working all she could. Work took her mind off her family situation. Let's see. All right, I see one person. He didn't press the idea of marriage. Let's see. Ling was grateful and just kept working all she could. Work took her mind off her family situation. She knew her mother was not happy, but she knew she could not change Shu Tan. But one day, Ling saw her mother beam with a hope she had not seen in some time. Her mother exceedingly told her an evangelist was coming to the village. All Ling felt towards God was bitterness, but to please her mother, Ling attended the meeting, the evangelist meeting. While the evangelist preached, Ling felt her heart soften and she began to listen intensely. Though she had heard the gospel before, it had never made sense to her. But that night was different. Her heart was stirred and she knew God was real. She wept, realizing the pain she had caused her mother, mocking her prayers and rejecting her faith. Ling's mother embraced her, offering forgiveness and assurance that God had a plan for her life. For the next year, Ling attended Bible meetings with her mother. Her outlook changed and she felt joy in her life for the first time. Then she began to have dreams about wheat fields. She didn't know what that meant until at a prayer meeting, Ling and her mother read Luke 10. The harvest is plenty, but the workers are few. Verse 2. Ling knew God was calling her to preach the gospel. Her mother knew it was time for her to obey God's call. At 17, with little money and no Bible, Ling set out to preach to the lost souls of China. Hey, Rose, good to see you, sweetie. She walked from village to village, sharing her faith. Some of the villages she visited had a Bible, so she studied and tried to memorize scriptures when she could. Ling preached with charisma and conviction, and young people particularly were drawn to her ministry. The people of China were starved for a message of hope. Ling's ministry continued to grow. Hundreds gathered to hear her preach and share her faith. Many house churches formed in the villages, and the government began to take notice. Ling was put on the most wanted list. Her life on the run began. For a while, she was able to keep running, sharing the gospel wherever she went. But finally, officials threw her into prison. She became very ill but continued to labor with the other prisoners. Officers beat her at her interrogation, but she never gave them the answers they wanted. Finally, after 5 months of brutal treatment, they had to admit they had no evidence that she had done anything wrong. Reluctantly, they let her go. Ling enjoyed her freedom and continued to preach and encourage the house churches. Later, she faced prison once again. She suffered severe loneliness, illness, and hardships of every kind. But whenever possible, she shared her trials and challenges the crowds to live for Christ no matter the cost. Life on the run hadn't gotten easier for Ling, but she is well educated in the school of suffering and knows danger will always loom after her path. The house churches of China continue to grow because of faithful believers like Ling. Two-thirds of the evangelist teams sent to remote villages were women during the early stages of this movement. Who would have thought God could use a skeptical, bitter young girl to bring hope to the villages of China? Ling's ministry continues today as she continues to look for opportunities to plant more house churches. Imprisonments, illness, hunger, and persecution seem inevitable, but Ling remains resolved to take on the dangerous work of evangelism. She is willing to suffer because she knows the cause of worthy. And the scripture for today is Philippians 4:12. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. And I'm going to write that down real quick because I know, and I think I have read this one before, but I think it's good today again because, it's about the woman and she lost her husband. And I have gone over, it's been a month, and I went back and looked at my YouTube channel. And I have seen so many people that have left comments and things for me. And I'm going to have to make another video on that because I am just so overwhelmed of this community that has held me up in prayer. And I just want to thank you for doing that. I really do. I really want to thank you for that. And but I'm going to do another video on that one because it just means so much for me to me. I knew the community loved each other, but I mean, y'all held me up in prayer, and without y'all, I don't know what I could have done without the prayer of the community that we have on YouTube and the family we have on YouTube. I will be on tomorrow morning. I will start again. This is my beginning again. I have continued. Yesterday was bad. I had to rest. I'd been on that all night auction. I went to church, and then I went to church again, and I was tired. I was really tired. But 205 is that page. And so anyway, I'm going to cut this one because of this one, and then I'm going to go to the back and I'm going to get a rack of clothes so that I can do my volunteer work. And then while I do that, I will give you a tour of the store. So while y'all watch this, and then watch for my next one. And please, if you're not subscribed to me, please subscribe and hit the like button. And when you leave a comment, that means so much to grow my channel. I really want to try to get to 500. So anyway, y'all have a great day, and I love you guys. Bye.